was a son. He was devoured by earth. There was a God.
Hello, I am Katina Horton, the Love and Freedom Toxic Relationship Recovery Coach, and this is the Valley of Grace podcast. We are helping women reclaim their power, soul, and identity so they will know they are enough. And today's Bible teaching is entitled Breaking Cycles so that you can move forward, part 3. Before we even decide to look at Laban's patterns of behavior, I want to look at the steps that it took for Jacob to move forward. And the number one thing that we should be looking at is that he heard Laban's sons talking. And sometimes when you overhear, sometimes you don't even be trying to eavesdrop necessarily like the mess Rebecca was doing. Sometimes you just overhear people talking. And it just so happened that he heard Laban's sons talking. They were projecting basically what they were doing. They were accusing Jacob of doing what his father was doing, right? And so I'm going to read right in Genesis 31. That's where I'm reading from, okay? I'm going to read verses 1 through 9. Now Jacob heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and from what was our father's he has acquired all this wealth. And Jacob saw the countenance of Laban, and indeed it was not favorable toward him as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and to your family, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field, to his flock, and said to them, I see your father's countenance, that it's not favorable toward me as before. But the God of my father has been with me, and you know that with all my might I have served your father. Yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. But God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said, thus the speckle shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore speckled. And if he said, thus the streak shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked. So God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me, right? So like I said, number one, the way that we know that the steps that it took for him to get ready to move forward, because before we can actually be in the process of moving forward, we got to get ready. And so in order for him to get ready to move forward, number one, he heard Laban's sons talking, right? He heard what was going on with them, right? And all of that was nothing but projection because of the fact that they were accusing Jacob of something that their father Laban was actually doing, right? He was stealing everything that belonged to Jacob. He was cheating Jacob out of money. He was even taking his daughter's money, the money that belonged to his daughters. He was stealing their money too. So for them to say, to believe, to self-deceive and believe that all of a sudden Jacob was stealing everything that belonged to their father, that means that their father had been talking to them. Laban had been planting the seed of doubt in their head about Jacob, right? That's what narcissistic people do. They find an opportunity for everything. They're opportunists, right? And so then what happened is that number two, the second thing that it took for Jacob to get ready to move forward, he saw that Laban's countenance had changed. And that's what I just read. One thing about it, when you're dealing with a narcissist and you notice that their countenance has changed towards you, you gotta be careful, because that's next level of envy and jealousy that has occurred and a murderous spirit entered in. And I want you to think about when it came to Saul and David and how the scripture said, it says something to the point, and I'm paraphrasing, from that point on, that Saul had his eyes on David. So that showed you that there was a shift, right? Narcissists are who they are, and they will have toxic envy and jealousy inside of them towards anyone, right? And it might even not even be for any particular reason. However, you get to the point when you know things have shifted with them, when their countenance changes and you can notice they start pulling back. You know, for women, you know that a narcissist is getting ready to leave you when they start totally pulling back, and you can tell that they're detaching from you, and there's another woman, or if it's a woman, female narcissist, there's another man in the picture, because they will all of a sudden start pulling back, just slowly pulling back. And then you might think, there's some type of shift, something's going on. And it might be, even though they might have even though they've been disconnected before, this countenance shift will be like none other. That's the only way I can describe it. And so that was the second thing. Number one, he heard Laban's sons talking. That was helping him to get ready to move forward. Number two, he saw that Laban's countenance had changed. Number three, he heard from God, right? And I just read that in verses 1 through 9 of Genesis 31. God told him, right, to get ready and return to his fathers and his family. And he told him he was going to be with him. So he was basically saying, like, what? I got your back. I'm with you. You're going to be scared. All of this. You got questions. All of this. Be ready. I got you. I'm with you. Right. The fourth step that Jacob took to get ready to move forward, he made a note of how many times he had been deceived, which I also just read. He told Leah and Rachel, yet your father, he says, and you know, this is verse 6 of Genesis 31, and you know that with all my might I've served your father. And this verse 7, yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore speckled. If he said thus, the streak shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked. So God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it's something how when it came to Abraham's family, when his servant, it's like God used the number 3 with them, and he also used the number 10. It's something about that 3, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, right, for confirmation, and the number 10, that stamp of authority on it. Even when Abraham's servant went to go and find a wife for Isaac, the number 10 was involved. And even when Laban tried to do a psych, oops, there it is. I said she's going, but she's not, about Rebecca. It wasn't a coincidence that all of a sudden he used the number 10 to say, well, let Rebecca stay for 10 days. And then the servant's like, no, we need to be going on back. I need to be heading back to my master, right? There was no coincidence he used the number 10. So when it came to Abraham's family, it's almost like God was like, I'd have made this promise to you, is sealed. This covenant promise, I'm going to come through. I'm going to follow through, right? This is my will. This is my word. I got you. I'm going to show you in 3s and 10s, right? No exception here. Okay. And so then we talked about how we knew Jacob was ready to move forward. Now I want to talk about how we knew that Jacob was actually moving forward. Okay. We know that Jacob was actually moving forward because he's left. Just plain and simple. He got up and peaced out. So this is Genesis 31 and this is verse 17. Then Jacob rose and set his sons and his wives on camels. Okay, this is the scripture to back up that he left. That's how you knew he was moving forward. And he carried away all his livestock and all his possessions, which he had gained. His acquired livestock, which he had gained in Padanaram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unknown to Laban the Syrian, and that he did not tell him that he intended to flee. So he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead, right? And so what happens is we knew Jacob was ready to move forward because he left. Like when you're in a narcissistic relationship and you just are fed up with all of this mess that have gone on, and then There's no more talking about what you're going to do. There's no more, well, maybe I think I'm going to pack up and leave with the kids. It's none of that. You get to the point with the woman, she's done talking, she's gotten clarity. One day he's gone. She might just pack up her stuff then and peace out with the kids, right? That's how you know you're ready to move forward. You leave, right? And you know you're getting ready to move forward because you're getting the plans. You're getting everything. You dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's, right? And so he left. Number two, the second way that we knew that Jacob was moving forward is Laban attempted to hoover him. Narcissists always try to hoover you when you're getting ready to leave, right? All of a sudden they start acting like their behavior wasn't that bad. And then they start gaslighting you. And then they start love bombing you again. And then they start saying, well, you know, baby, I done rededicated my life to the Lord. And, you know, I got that broker deal coming up, you know, and we can finally fly to Paris and go to Spain and go to overseas and hit about 20 different countries. They start with all of that. Well, you know, I'm going to church every Sunday now. You know, I'm in therapy and I done finally figured out my mother and father wounds, all of that. When you ready to go, when you moving forward, you moving forward. It don't matter what they say, right? And sometimes it is a point where a woman can end up getting reeled back in because it starts sounding good. All that sweet talking sounds real good, right? It says on the third day, Laban was told, and this is Genesis 31, and this is 22. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. Oh boy. So that started verse 22 and we still going. Then God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night and said, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Then Laban said to Jacob, what have you done? You've deceived me, and you've carried off my daughters like captives of war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of timbrels and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. I had the power to harm you. But last night, the God of your father said to me, be careful not to say anything to Jacob. Yeah, well, God told him that, but he's doing what? He's still talking to him. Either good or bad. Now you have gone off because you long to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods? So that's gaslighting right there. First of all, God told him what not to do. He went on and did it anyway because he said don't say anything to a good or bad. He did. Right? He did say something to him. Then he further goes on after gaslighting him, making it seem like he was going to have music and timbrels and joy and singing and all of that mess. He knew he wasn't going to do all of that. Anytime it was music and dancing involved and food and drinking the next morning, right? Then there was deception involved, right? You end up with all of this type of stuff, right? Jacob ended up making a deal, selling his soul to the devil with Laban, going to this another covenant deal. And then Laban go through making him feel good with music and singing and all of that. And then the next morning, the deception is uncovered, right? So why would Jacob want to put himself through that again with Laban? I don't think so, right? Why would you want to put yourself through that again with this narcissistic man? He done love bombed you. He came and caught up with you and the kids. And now, well, you know, baby, I done rededicate I'm in therapy 4 or 5 days a week. I'm in this intensive therapy. And now I'm calling everybody up and asking for forgiveness. And I'm doing it this kind of way and that kind of way. And he's probably in some type of cultish group cult therapy type of thing where it's so-called supposed to heal him from all of his sins and all of this kind of stuff. And they're calling everybody up and making amends with them, some buffoonery like that, just to get you back. But telling you all of this stuff, right? And so the thing about it, he will in turn then try to say, well, I would have done this and I would have helped you and the kids move. Y'all don't have to run out for like that, knowing that that wasn't the case, right? And the thing about it, here's the other part of gaslighting that Laban did. He said, now you've gone off because you long to return to your father's household. No, didn't go out. He didn't run off because he longed to return to his father's household. He ran off because he was sick and tired of you. He knew you were toxic, very unhealthy man, antagonistic, right? Always trying to cut up some type of side deal and cheating him on his wages 10 times. 10 times, that's the stamp of authority of God on Abraham's family. It was a done deal. It was over, right? Right? That it was over. It was over. The third way you know Jacob was moving forward, Jacob initiated the meal. After Laban did all this gaslighting and all of this mess and pretended like he was all for them, and he said he wanted to make a covenant with Jacob. He said, here is this heap and here's this pillar I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness and this pillar is a witness that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac. He offered a sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. Jacob invited the relatives to a meal, right? He did not allow Laban to initiate that meal, right? He had gotten him some sense. Jacob never tried to hurt Laban. And Laban said, we're going to set this up, make a covenant. You can't go this far, I can't go that far. Projection again. First his sons projecting their dad's behavior onto Jacob. Then Laban's projecting his own behavior onto Jacob. Jacob never tried to hurt Laban. Laban was the one trying to hurt him and was going to do something with him had God not intervened with the foolishness, right? He never tried to hurt Laban. And he said that way, you don't do this and you don't hurt my daughters and do this and do that. You're the one that hurt your daughters. You got paid for them. You took all their money and gambled it up or whatever he did with it, right? They didn't get it, okay? They did not get the money. And so when you get in these situations and you're ready to move forward, you got to get some steps for getting ready to move forward. And then you got the steps of what? You got the actual movement of moving forward, right? You got the actual action. You get ready and then you take action like Jacob did, right? And then when you look back at Laban's patterns of behavior was toxic, right? What Laban did is that he sat back and he ended up observing that other individual's vulnerability, right? He knew that Jacob was in a vulnerable spot. He observed Jacob's vulnerability, his vulnerability. He observed it point blank, right? And another one of Laban's patterns was that not only did he observe Jacob's vulnerability, based upon that, he ended up going into a covenant, number 2, with Jacob, right? Number 1, he observed vulnerability in his victim. Number 2, he went into a covenant with his victim, right? That was for Laban's patterns, right? Number 3, after going into the covenant, he love bombed them with food and drink, right? Make sure they feel good. Number 4, the fourth thing was the deception was revealed. It was like, psych, I'm not doing what I said I was going to do, right? Yeah, we made a covenant, but oh well. Covenants don't mean nothing to me. That's basically the attitude that Laban took. I'm Katina Horton, the Love and Freedom Toxic Relationship Recovery Coach. Be blessed, and until next time.
There was a son. He was devoured by earth. There was a God. They call him the Father. There was a means to make a valley with that I've done for me. You made a valley of grace where things would change, and maybe they'd take up the cross high again. The valley of grace was never the same after he had died. The love that refines. There's no sense in trying to do it on my own. He gave more than I could have known. He turned those valleys into places to learn, instead of burn and perish away. And nights never so cold without his grace. How could I say that I've seen the world from his great love? How could I know what he could love? How would I've seen what he had in store for me if I didn't give up and let him be my valley of grace, where things would change, and maybe they'd take up the cross high again. The valley of grace never was the same after he had died. The love that refines. So much I wish I could give back, but I'm not intact to be sharing all of that. You took the price to give me that life, and now it's never gonna fade away. When I see I need more of him, he whispers the sweetest of mercies upon my ears, and I won't go back the way it was again, 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 and now a valley of grace where things would change. I've seen the lights of valley of grace where things have changed. Oh, I've seen so much for me.